Good night, viewers, and welcome to this another program of Advancing the Cause. This program comes to you every Wednesday night from 18:30 hours to 20 hours. The official host of this program is the Honorable Coretta McDonald, AA, MP, and President of the Guyana Teachers Union. From all indications, Comrade McDonald could not have been here tonight to host this program for reasons of national interest. And therefore, I want to tender an apology for her absence. My name is Dennis Jaikaran, and I would be hosting this program tonight. As we would have always indicated to you that between programs, meaning each week per se, that we receive at the level of this program information and pieces of correspondence that would so direct us as it relates to formulating the topics therein. And so based on discussions, based on submissions, based on the guidance, we would have been so advised that this program viewers, let me tender an apology for that break in transmission. It is not on our part, but it has to do with some level of interference in this program. But we would continue. So we were at a point where we were making the point in that the topic would have been derived from the discussions and submissions of information from our viewers. And so before I bring you the topic, let this program express gratitude and thanks to all the viewers who would have so directed. Yes, again, we had some difficulties there, and so we continue to apologize, but not, let us make it clear that it is not from our part. So our topic tonight is accounting to taxpayers. And so this topic, as guided by viewers, would have allowed us to better understand that there is no real system in this country that would so allow the taxpayers to be very well informed as to how their monies are being accounted for. And so this program is going to attempt in very many ways and forms tonight to cause our taxpayers to know why is it their monies are not being properly accounted for. And so tonight, the order of the program would be education matters, health matters, and we are going to deal with some general issues. 2 weeks ago, when this program came to you, we were at the point of discussing something that is happening in the education system that is very much out of order and out of place. And we were making reference to the award ceremony in Region 2 as organized by the Department of Education. And this is not to be labeled any REDO or to be labeled any Department of Education, pointing fingers at them, but to just point out the lack of knowledge of what the Department of Education is attempting to do. And so, first thing is that any award ceremony that is so organized by any Department of Education, that award ceremony is to so allow for achievers, meaning our learners at the various levels, nursery, primary, secondary, our teachers and our head teachers to be awarded. And so you did not find that in the award ceremony, which is an indictment. And so the REDO said, or as reported in the media, that there is this annual report. Let this program make it straight that there's no annual report of regional education officers. And if by chance there would have been an annual report is so read at the end of the calendar year, because the budget provides for a review and it is taken in the budget and it is not an annual report. So that is point number one. Point number two, that even if it would have been an annual report, and I guess the REDO does not know this, that there are indicators and that any focus of any report should be on the indicators which should point to achievements. And so there would not have been made any reference to indicators. And once you do not go down that line, you are not pointing in the right direction. But again, it might be that the REDO does not have knowledge of what these indicators are, and therefore could not have point in that direction as it relates to. It was further reported from the report as presented by the Redo that 83 schools, their tarmac of these schools, 83. But it should have been read not the school, it should have, and it is in the report, should have read school compounds were upgraded, tarmac, so to speak. Whatever they call tarmac, it is concrete. And before I make mention of that part of it, the areas in which these tarmacs, as reported, would have been done, it is now deteriorating. And so let us go back to these tarmacs. If you would have done 83 schools, as reported, now a number of things. One, if you go to these schools, and it might not only be in Region 2, so this program is cutting across all the regions now, and you go and you look at the drains they're in, it becomes dangerous for our learner. So we want to make that point. The second point this program would wish to make is that you would have removed, because of ignorance, having our learners experience the very natural environment. And when you take away that natural environment from our learners, you are allowing our children not to experience that natural environment. And so that kind of learning, especially at the nursery level, would not be there. And so when you boast about spending money to develop tarmacs, you must tell the public, because it is taxpayers' money, that you have removed the natural environment from our learners, our children, so to speak. And so that level of them developing their finer muscles, experiencing the habitat they're in, you would have taken away that from our learners. So when there is this big glowing report to promote what you would have done, tarmac 83 schools, the compound, you are not saying, and that is why earlier on this program spoke about indicators. And so to stretch it out further, across this country where these tarmacs are there, let this program report to the country and to the international community and all those who are listening that prior to this kind of intervention, which is very bad and poor, that these schools were there as it is, contracts signed for weeding and cleaning of these school compounds. And so there is this continuous payment for weeding and cleaning of school compound, despite the fact that there is, these compounds are now experiencing or having tarmac. Now this is double dipping as it is. And so for these compounds that are having this tarmac, but would have at one time when this tarmac was not there, paying for weeding and cleaning of compound, and this situation continues. Then the head teachers, the district education officers, the REDOs must be held accountable. That is why we talk about accounting for taxpayers' money. Must be held accountable for payments for weeding and cleaning of school compounds. When you have reported joyfully that 83 schools are now having tarmac, but you have not reported that because these tarmacs are there, that there's a reduction so to speak, in the payment of weeding and cleaning for these school compounds. It is an indictment, and this program is bringing it to the attention of the taxpayers of this country of what you call double dipping as it relates to. So it is clear that these head teachers and these REDOs and district education officers must be surcharged, for signing the claims that are submitted for weeding and cleaning of school compound when they very well know and they are reporting that these compound are experiencing or having tarmac at this stage. What kind of double dipping is this here? This is a process of reporting for taxpayers' money. The natural environment as it is to allow our learners Viewers, we want to again apologize for that disruption. And we want to say that maybe because we are speaking about accounting, the topic accounting to taxpayers, that we are having these disruptions. But we will continue. So we were at the point in which we were saying that they boast about in Region 2, and I guess this is happening across the country, of having these school compounds now being tarmac. We were making the point that there is double dipping. And what is this double dipping? That a contract would have been signed for weeding and cleaning of school compound. These compounds are now tarmac, and once they are there and the tarmac is there, then you should not be paying for weeding and cleaning of school compound, but you are still doing it. So the point is that the head teachers, the district education officers, and the REDOs should be surcharged for such an indecent act, criminal act, so to speak. So we wanted to make that point, and we wanted to talk about destroying the natural habitat of learning of our learners. And so we now move to this point of the award ceremony continued. The program indicated early on that an award ceremony is for our teachers, and our learners, excuse me, to be awarded for outstanding performance at examinations, at sports and culture, and what have you, and our teachers getting learners to a particular level so that they can achieve. And so it is amazing to know that in Region 2, the REDO and staff awarded themselves with certificates assigned by the regional education officer. Now, once upon a time, this host was a regional education officer. And at no time, the REDO or any member of staff, the DOs or the support staff, were not awarded because it is not award ceremony for the REDO and staff. But it is shameful to know that this REDO in Region 2 awarded herself a certificate, and the DOs and the other members of staff certificates. This is shameful. And I guess at the next award ceremony that they can be able to correct the situation. Now the REDO spoke about, and this is across the country again, but this program is taking a hint from the report to make mention of the other regions. But in Region 2, there's tremendous overstaffing of nursery, primary, and secondary school. And not only in Region 2, but as we said on this program, whenever we speak and we give the information, this program would receive the information of the tremendous overstaffing in schools across this country. But we are going to come to deal with that and to talk about the Teaching Service Commission, the School Board Secretariat, and we are going to talk on this program about selective administrative appointments and the absence of them not providing for public the senior vacancy list for over a number of years now. But we're going to come to that point because all these things are wrapped up in that fake report by the Regional Education Officer, Region 2. And staffing. Yes, let us make the point. In staffing, because we are saying that the schools across this country are tremendously overstaffed. But you have to deal what is known as actual. So you start from entitlement, the actual and the vacancies. Let this program allow the public to understand, taxpayers of this country to understand, and viewers, that in Region 2, the secondary schools, 8 I think they are, the entitlement is 460. 416 members of staff. Right now in this region, the actual is 658 in the secondary schools. For emphasis, let this program go back. The entitlement for secondary schools as a total is 460. The actual is 658. And so there is overstaffing at the secondary schools in Region 2 by 242 teachers. Taxpayers of this country, this cuts across every other region as it relates to overstaffing. But we are using, meaning this program, the example from Region 2 to show what is happening. So when we talk about accounting to taxpayers, this is an area in which taxpayers must know that there is this default. You know, when that budget is prepared and when the general report would so derive from allocations or appropriations for each agency, there is supposed to have a table of staffing. And so Auditor General, this program is so advising that that was not looked at properly last year. And this program is bringing to your attention, meaning the Office of the Auditor General, in November, to cause the Office of the Auditor General to ensure that these discrepancies, so to speak, and overpayment and overstaffing is so mentioned. And so these are the things that taxpayers should know. That when we talk about accounting to taxpayers, we are talking not only for the delivery of a system, whether health, whether education, whether public works, whether by administration or by in any way agricultural projects and what have you. We are not only talking Viewers, let us apologize once more for being disrupted. But we will continue this program. We have at least about an hour more, and we are going to see how best we can, despite the fact these disruptions, not from our end, so to speak, but maybe because repeating ourselves from here, what the topic is talking about, accounting to taxpayers. And so we were talking about overstaffing, and we were making mention and example of Region 2 as it relates to secondary schools and making it across this country what is happening. So we were saying that the entitlement for Region 2 is 416 staff members for secondary school. The actual is 650, so that the overstaffing is 242. This is an indictment, and the REDO should be held accountable for its high level of overstaffing. And since it is Region 2, it should be that the REDOs across this country who and allow these things to happen should account to the taxpayers of this country. Now, at this award ceremony, but before we go there, let us explain about these vacancies, both senior and junior vacancies. And you know, there has been a tremendous failure of ensuring that the list of senior vacancies, that those lists would not have been published, not been published. Since these lists, as it is, were not published, the Ministry of Education, the Teaching Service Commission, and the School Board Secretariat were busy making administrative appointments based on a non-competition, meaning they want to put or they would have put in place the people who they wanted to put. This is also an indictment. This is also an indictment as it relates to that situation. You know, at this award ceremony,